Pinball circuit activated.
All right, Happy New Year. I have not gone idle, despite the fact that I haven't had any videos up in a while. I just haven't been taking videos of my last project, which I'll show you the end result of. It's 95% complete. It's that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein right there. It wasn't really a full restoration. I'll kind of walk you through that. So I didn't take a bunch of videos of it, but we are ready to start a new project, which is this. This is a Dolly. This is a Bally game from the late 1970s. I'm not sure if it was 77 or 76 or 78, whatever. This is for a customer, and this one is pretty rough. So this will be a full restoration, cabinet, decaling, playfield swap. One little interesting twist we're going to do on this one, as the customer request, is I'm going to use Yopsicles. If you don't know what Yopsicles are, they are LED board lamp replacements, and I've never used them before, so I'm kind of curious to use them and see how they work. I've heard good things about them, and they're an easy way to kind of eliminate the dodgy socket issue that happens a lot of times on these games if you don't, replace all the sockets and all that stuff. It's an inexpensive solution. I ordered a page of 100 of them, and they kind of snap off. And it was basically $1 a light. So if you think about it, if you buy an LED bulb, it's $1, right? And the socket is usually anywhere from 75 cents to $1.50, depending on the type of socket. So it's a way to get, LED options for about half the price. So if it works on this game, I may use it more often. So let me take you a walk around this game, and I'll take you a walk around the Frankenstein. All right, here we go, walk around on the Dolly, kind of see where we're starting. Here's the coin door. Bummer here is that somebody drilled it and put in a free play switch. So I'm gonna have to replace that. What I'm probably gonna do, I've got a Knight Rider over there that will eventually become an Evel Knievel, but I'm gonna powder coat that door so I can get this one plugged and welded to where it'll be okay to powder coat and you won't see it. But I obviously can't get it to where I'll be able to regrain it. So I think what I'm gonna do is swap that Knight Rider door for this door. And then when I do the Knight Rider, I'll just have that welded and filled, and we'll powder coat that. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Cabinet is kind of pretty rough, pretty faded. We'll get new side rails for it. It's solid. I mean, it's not completely destroyed, but it's got the usual kind of dry rot going on. Playfield is rough, but will be replaced. Let's just zoom out a little bit. So playfield's pretty rough, but will be replaced. You can see this game has been played a lot. So there's your playfield. I'll put all new stand-ups on it. We've got all new pop bumper caps, all new stand-up targets there. Everything will be replaced. It'll be brand new. The apron is super faded. Was obviously routed. So let's look underneath. All right, here we are underneath the playfield. We found some goodies. So we have some super old solder that I don't think I'm going to use. Oh, here, look, it's lead-free. That's terrible. Don't ever use lead-free solder. It's awful, and it's impossible to get off. Also, we have the very important baling wire, which is important to hold all pinball machines together. And then we have some rubbers and bolts and things. The actual playfield itself, the good news is the mechs actually look pretty good. They're not terribly rusted. The drop mech looks okay. Yeah, I mean, there's not too much rust here, which is great. Since we're using the obstacles, I'm gonna save all of these and polish them out, and I'll have them as spares because they're actually in pretty good shape. But yeah, underneath, not bad. Something's obviously wrong here. That's just hanging loose. All right, let's check the head. All right, here's the front of the head. These displays will all be replaced. I do not know if they're working or not. The actual board itself is pretty clean. Let's see what's inside. What do we have? Okay, so we have original boards. There's a little bit of corrosion damage over here, which is unfortunate. Here's the lovely battery. This, I don't know if this is gonna boot or not. We'll have to see. Luckily, they do make these universal boards for Bally's, which are pretty nice. But yeah, that's like an original battery. It's even rusted through the lead. Wow, okay. That board looks okay. I believe that is the lamp driver board. Yes, it is. Over here is your soundboard. Probably, I don't know. We'll see what happens when I boot it up. I may replace that capacitor. They also make a universal soundboard for that too. It's pretty straightforward though. Here's your power supply. Doesn't look terrible. And this is just your fuse board, which we will take a look at once we get that plastic cover off of there. Looks like okay. It looks like it's okay. And then your transformers down there. Backside of the light board looks pretty good. So except for this MPU, which I probably will need to replace. Yeah, see, this corrosion goes all the way down into here. This may be better to just replace right off the bat and not mess with it. It's just not, I mean, these replacement boards are, I think it's about 200, 250 bucks. And it's just not worth it to me to sit there and fart around with a corroded MPU. Plus, look here, this is all bent. This header would have to be replaced. Those are all bent. I'm just gonna replace that board. All right, so that is where we're starting with Dolly. Let me show you Frankenstein. All right, here's Frankenstein. So this is a game that's for a customer. He wanted it restored, but you know, don't go crazy with it, kind of a thing as far as cost goes. So I did a few things to it. The cabinet was redone. I fixed all of the structural issues with the cabinet. There was a lot of water damage to the cabinet, actually. And then we filled it, primed it, painted it, and decaled it with new decals. Everything was powder coated flat black, which I went with to kind of go with the theme of a kind of rusty monster thing, I guess. This was redone. I cleaned all that off, painted it, and restored that. I'll show you the sides. I've got the side blade protectors on it because I'm moving the playfield up and down. So here's the side art. It came out pretty nice. And then here's the one side. The other side's kind of hard to get to. I may not be able to show you that too well. We did put a color DMD in here, which is currently black and white because I haven't updated the firmware yet. All new plastics, new plastic panel. This was all powder coated, or this was powder coated, this is plastic. This was powder coated as well. You may notice that there is no sound. And that is because we're having a sound issue that I'm having to troubleshoot. I'll go into that in a minute. This apron, I just re-decaled. Nothing major there. The playfield we left as is, basically. I just cleaned it really good. There was a lot of dust and dirt and rust and everything all over this machine. So I cleaned it up. and put some wax on it, because I'm not aware that anyone makes these on a repro basis. So it would have had to have been completely stripped and painted and restored. And this game is Mylar'd everywhere because the monster throws balls during the game. So they put Mylar on it, which was smart to keep the playfield from getting beat up, but it also means there's Mylar everywhere. So there's a couple of things that I wasn't able to really address that I probably would have liked to, but this will be for another time for the owner. I would put Cliffies here and here on these scoops, which you can easily do, but Cliffy, from my understanding, is currently running somewhere around a year to a year and a half behind on these, making these protectors. So if I were the owner of this game, I would put in an order for some Cliffies for this game and just wait and put it in there at some point. Because in order to fix, let me show you what the deal is here. See all that wear? So in order to really fix that, again, the easiest way to do it is just put a Cliffy there. Other way to do it is you have to fill everything in with some kind of epoxy form, filler, sand it back, paint it. It's a huge pain, and then that's going to chip out again. So really the best thing to do is just put a Cliffy there. In the same way with this one. So there's that. The monster I custom painted and airbrushed. I think he looks pretty cool. So I kind of gave him a little bit more of a monster-y looking thing with some blood and some guts and everything everywhere. One issue that I'm going to have to figure out, if you will notice, he's missing the tip of his finger. And that's actually causing a little bit of an issue because when the ball comes in here, it's not really holding right there, it's falling down behind. So I'm gonna have to adjust this hand a little bit and that arm so that it catches the ball correctly. Powder coated the wire forms. These wire forms were brass on the original, but they were super rusted. So we had them powder coated flat black, which I think looks fantastic. I think with this kind of a game, it's supposed to be kind of a dark game. You know, it's got kind of a rust looking idea to the side of it. So I thought flat black would be great. The flat black legs, and then the lockdown bar is over there, and it's flat black as well. Went with black rubbers all around. I did put clear pop bumper caps over here. Originally, it's the usual Data East, what is it, green, red, blue, and yellow. But again, to me, this is supposed to be like a, you know, like a monster dark themed game, and having multicolored pop caps just doesn't make sense. So I put clears on here, and these are fire bulbs from Comet. So during the game, my hope is that this will kind of look like they're little torches or something. We did do, you see right there, we did some little decals, some little stickers for the stand-ups. That's all the way around where you spell out Frankenstein. Original ramp was kept and just cleaned because this ramp is not available that I'm aware of from anybody, and neither is this one. So I did have my buddy Chris make a new decal for the back of this and a new decal for here for this ramp. And otherwise, I just cleaned it really well and used some Novus on it to clean it up. And I think it came out okay. There's a couple spots where it's just fatiguing a little bit from age, but it's not cracked and it's still workable. So I think it's good. This ramp looks fine. I did disassemble these and clean them up. They were also kind of rusty. So that's all better. And again, this ramp also is not available. Over here, this was really rusted. So what I did was I drilled these rivets out and I cleaned this and then re-riveted it with new rivets. So yeah, that's kind of this game. Inside, it is all original boards, but as I mentioned, we're having a sound issue. So I have the ribbon cable off currently because I'm going to replace the sound ROMs on this soundboard. basically what was happening when I got the game was every time you would hit any switch, it would either use the call out of Frankenstein or jackpot, which clearly isn't correct. So what I've done so far is I replaced the header up here, up here, because I thought that might be the problem. Didn't make a difference. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to replace, I've also replaced all the ribbon cables. I'm going to replace all those sound ROMs and see if that's the issue. I'm hoping that's the issue, because if it's not, then it's one of two things. It's either one of the PIA chips on this MPU that's not sending, because I guess the question is the MPU sending the wrong signal to the soundboard, or is the soundboard receiving the correct signal and just processing it wrong because one of the sound ROMs is bad and you're just getting the same sound over and over and over and over again? If it's the MPU, then I do have a buddy who says he has a working MPU from a Tommy that he was going to allow me to use as a test board and see if that fixes the issue. He does do some board work, so what I might do, if that is the case, and the replacement MPU works, I might work a trade out with him to pay him a few $100 and give him this board and take the working board and then just have a working game, and he can futz with this board and figure out what's wrong with it, because I don't do board repair. I am not smart enough or technically skilled enough to do board repair. So the really expensive solution is a Rotten Dog board, which is available for about $450. But the owner doesn't really want to spend that much, and I don't blame him, because to be quite honest, I was a little bit surprised that we were going to do this amount of work on a Frankenstein, because this game is not usually one that people put a bunch of money in, but you know what? It came out really nice, actually. So I just got a few tweaks to go on this, and then get those sound ROMs in hopefully in a week or so, replace those and see what happens, and then I'll update this firmware so that's color. And the Translight the owner has. So that is not here, so you won't get to see it with the Translight on it. Go in there. It'll hold. So that is the Frankenstein. And can I show you the back? There was a lot of water damage to the back here. This was all swollen and falling apart back here. So I did just I did sand all of this down, get rid of all the bad particle board. Because this was Data East, remember, this was Sega actually. So this was like when pinball was kind of failing and they were using a lot of cheap materials to try and cut their costs. And particle board back here was one of the problems. You will notice that there is no text here. There was a wall of yellow text. That really should be silk screened, and I don't have the silk screen, and I don't want to do the silk screen because it's a one-off game. I don't really, I guess I can show you the side. I don't really usually work on Data East or Segas because I kind of don't like them. Shh, don't tell anybody. And it's not that they're bad games. There are good games. Jurassic Park, Data East Jurassic Park's good. This game actually is pretty good. My issue is that, again, they were cost cutting at this time. And so a lot of the components are plastic, like the pop bumper the pop bumper brackets are all plastic. A bunch of stuff is plastic. And they were using these flipper boards, which fail all the time. And it just seems to me that every time I work on a Data East or a Sega, it's a pain in the butt. That's just my experience. It may not be correct, but I don't generally like to work on these games. But I did it because the guy wanted it done, and he was like, I'll pay you to do it. So, okay. Yeah. So that's this game. So what we'll do next on Dolly, I'm going to pull the playfield out. We're going to start to gut the cabinet and see if we can start the cabinet restoration and get it primed, and we will go from there. So there you go. Next project is Dolly.